Oh,
Welcome,
okay.
everybody. Of course, the second I stop sharing it is when someone starts to record. Welcome, everybody, to the Hypnotic Big Brother Awards ceremony. We have quite a few awards to give out. If you don't have anything from the awards that we have prepared, we have consolation prize at the end for everybody. We know it's 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern. We are sorry, but you have me and Alex on prod, so I don't know what you guys were expecting out of this ceremony. But first off, we're going to go right into it with our hero of the season. Um, this award was pretty tough. I think a lot of people, for a variety of reasons, could qualify as a hero. There was a lot of people who were honest and or loyal to a fault on this cast. But we narrowed it down to three people in particular. I think we're playing pretty heroic games. We have Esme, we
Oh,
have Issa, and we have Joanne here. I think us as Prod kind of came to the consensus as to who the nominees were pretty quickly in the process of like getting through each of the awards. But which one do we want to award specifically? And I personally felt like this player came into this game with a lot of heart, a lot of humility. I think just on their way out, it was very upsetting for me personally. Just even some of the conversations I saw that this person was a participant of, and how much poise that they came into this game, how honest they were, how loyal they were. And so our hero of the season is Esme. I was really when you said, "Oh, this is probably gonna be my last game," like Insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and like kind of pulling it to the same results. My first thought was like, obviously, I can't break like production. I was like, please don't let this be your last game. You played an amazing game, even for your short tenure here in Hypnotic Big Brother. I guess technically we're in the preseason, but we had you pegged as a front runner pretty early on. Everyone adored you. Everybody talked about how lovely you were, how amazing, how funny you were. Your fucked ass edits, always brought smiles to everybody's faces. I think if anything, like yes, obviously the game is about lying, backstabbing, cutting people's throats, what have you. And not to say that any hero we've awarded to in the past would be incapable of doing those things, and as you were capable of doing that as well. But we feel like at the very least, you always brought morale up. There were times in this game where things got pretty hectic and got pretty tense, and I feel like you always brought that levity, which, like, I think the players appreciated, production very much appreciated, just the rate, the sunshine you brought to the season, for lack of a better word. So, Esme, you are the hero. You're good.
thank you.
No, thank you for blessing us with your presence.
I also remember talking to you literally the night before you got nominated before going to eviction.
Oh,
And at that point, I don't think you were going to be nominated. Or at least it wasn't said to Prod at all you were going to be nominated. And I was like, yes, I'm excited. We're going to see more Esme. And then you got nominated, and I was like, we're losing our hero.
I don't think
yeah,
many people expected Esme to be nominated.
Right.
no.
We didn't even expect Esme to go home when final noms were locked in. It's like, oh, we were like, oh, everyone loves Esme. No one's gonna get rid of the, but like that's kind of like the reason. It was like, oh,
Mhm.
everyone loves Esme. We have to get rid of.
And that's why I've never survived a vote in any game. Fun fact. Um, I've never survived a nomination when I'm on the block, and anytime I get a vote cast against me is the night I go home. So I've never survived getting votes cast against me. So I knew I was gone just because based on like previous actually no, sorry, that's a lie. There's a is it? No. No, I can't mention that yet. Sorry.
But
But yeah.
with every hero comes a villain of the season. Who is going to be presenting this award?
That's me.
Liz.
Ah, exactly right. Now, players, let's be honest. Some of you here were snippy. Some of you were nasty, but only a few of you did we as Prod feel could be considered true villains who played the game in a wonderfully clever and sneaky, but in a positive way, sort of way, constantly keeping your own interests in mind while still navigating this an incredibly social and dynamic game. So, Jacob, shall we meet the nominees? Here we are. Now, of the three of you, Cody, Sean, and our runner up V, we were impressed by the sheer resilience of your games in places and the decisions that you all made along the way. But at the end of the day, there was only one of you that we felt deserved villain of the season. And we are pleased to award that to our runner-up, V.
It's been years of me trying to get this. Finally, so many hero versus villains without getting the award. Finally.
Two ends of the non-binary spectrum, the hero and the villain.
Literally, I wouldn't be happy with it. No, straight up. Half of the time when I was crying, it was fake as shit. I was doing whatever I could. Love all you guys though.
Oh my Christ.
We'll talk about a
That
little.
quality that you've made it here, and we're proud of you for your villainy.
I don't know how I did it, but here I am and I love it.
I mean, villains historically do really good at Hypnotic Big Brother too, so it's just like
Yeah, actually, this is good.
yeah.
I think I'm next.
Guys, Heather's next.
Guys,
Oh.
Who's next?
okay. So we give a physical, strategic, social player of the season every season. This is not POTS, but this is specifically who we feel played a great physical game this season. We do have like clear people who have won a lot of competitions. There's a lot more than just winning the competitions. It's also carries into a lot of other factors that do coincide in the game. So we did have a few players who we did feel played a fairly physical game this game. So we have 3 nominees. We do have Joel, who won 5 competitions, but also played in so many fucking competitions. I think played in the most competitions this season and did actively throw a lot of challenges, so could have won a lot more than what was said. This was like said in the prod chat saying like, hey, I might not actually participate or do certain things, not just for my own sake, but because I don't feel like I need it right now. And then there's Julia. Julia was a very like high front runner for this in the early stages of the game. Won quite a few competitions. Can I list them off the top of my head? No, because I'm drunk. But did play more in the front half of the game in the sense of physical. And then there's V, who did technically win most of the competitions, however, also had a lot of very bad rounds with things, wiki links included. So as much as we would like to, give it to, the person who did win the most competitions, which is very fair and that deserves its flowers in its own, we did decide to go with Joel because there was a lot of competitions that Joel was going to possibly excel in and possibly even win, but was like, nah, I'm gonna throw this and did some things there. Also, just the fact that you did play the most competition or challenges in this season, just because the wheel was obsessed with you for the first half of the game. And then for some reason hated you when you really wanted the wheel to like you. So that's why we did end up giving it to Joel, also spreading some love around there, so. But everybody who was nominated was very much like high in contention. I think this was one of the last ones we did actually come up with the final person. All right.
And with Alex, I think you're presenting this next one.
All right, strategic player of the season. This is my bread and butter. It's making all the right moves at the right time, making sure that you're on top of where people stand in the game and where things are moving in the game. I would argue one of the more difficult facets of this game. So our strategic player nominees of the season are Cody, Seb, and Timmy. All at different points. I feel like these 3 were very solid as far as their positioning, as far as knowing who they needed to work with at the right time, and as far as who to vote out. Because there were a good number of vote outs, probably more this season than any other season, where we were like, I actually don't know who goes home at this point. And I feel like these people were spearheading the decisions behind those. So looking at the player who I think had the most impact in this category, we ultimately ended up going with Cody for strategic player of the season. I know I understand from the jury's perspective that might be a slightly unpopular opinion. However, from our perspective, I feel like there weren't a ton of major decisions that didn't end up going to Cody and having Cody make a decision as far as where things would go in that particular way. He had a huge hand in taking out Joanne at the final 7 and keeping our tie streak intact. There's been a tie vote in every single season of Hypnotic. We were worried that wasn't going to happen this time, but look at us go. And yeah, and yeah, so Cody for our strategic player of the season.
Yeah, I think the jury didn't see a lot of that, but we as prod definitely saw most of that in regards to theirs.
Yeah.
So
We do see everything.
we see everything.
Now, as with the Holy Trinity of orbs, the physical, the strategic, and now the social player must be rounded out. Now, this was a very social game. You guys were constantly in the weeds, chatting with each other, trying to make these connections, trying to make these alliances work. But the people that we felt that rose to the occasion of a very social game were our friends Julia, Cody, and Joanne, all of whom played very strong social games. It felt like there was not a single player in the game they were not intimately talking to and potentially even working with at times. We thought that every single one of you put forth an incredible showing in this particular branch of org strategy. But the person that we felt had the strongest social game from day one was our friend Julia.
Me when I lie. What are we talking about? Please.
Listen,
okay.
Please.
the game running from day one. You were a very strong presence, and that counts for social games.
Julia, you're going to see the trust rankings at the end of the season and then be like, how did all these people, like, you did not drop from the top, like, for almost the entire game, and that includes the week you went out.
You were like number 1 for like half of the rounds that you were in the game, and one of them was the round before you got sent home, like during like
My mind.
That's
It
what
was
I'm
great.
saying.
Impressive.
That's why we collect trust rankings
to determine this war.
to determine this.
But no, genuinely, I kind of like Julia played. It sucks because you're like, oh, I'm in such a terrible position. I'm in such a terrible spot. I'm gonna go home next. Which like I know it's like Julia's shtick, but like she was not going home. I think before like 9 at the bare minimum. And Julia, I think the first opportunity presented to get rid of Julia, people took her out because, as Seb said earlier, she's scary.
She's scary.
She's scary. But we move on to our next award here, the best move of the season. Now, unlike the prior awards, we don't have the nominees up on the board. Just a couple moves that we did consider. The week 3 round, like I think, was very pivotal to how the rest of the game played out. There were some early front runners that I think their game tanked as a result, and we felt like in the fiasco of like figuring out who of Jonathan and V were going. I remember there being a conversation V had with Joel. I think once Joel was like on the train of like wanting to keep V, I feel like that kind of caused the domino effect of V staying. I feel like that conversation specifically was the difference maker of Jonathan staying versus V staying, but we did not make that worse. I mean, that's not worse. Well, we didn't make it worse move, but we didn't make it best move either. We also jokingly put this here. Issa naming Julia, we would directly save them at 10, and we felt that because there was some hijinks and some questionable decisions made by some HOHs here. We felt like Issa nominating Julia, painting that target on Julia's back. I feel like that paid dividends for Issa moving forward. But fortunately, we did not make that best move. We felt like this was a very necessary move to make. It was highlighted rather prominently in Seb's question answering during the finale. So we felt like best move was taking out Joanne at 7. Kind of put this into context. Timmy was in a really good spot at 7. He had that alliance with the Seb, Cody, and Via Vidal, then had another separate 4 with Joanne, Issa, and Joel. And with Joel getting sent home, Joanne, Issa, Timmy, they were going to be a 3. And kind of Seb kind of talks about this, like how if the round just plays out the same way that it naturally does, the 3 I don't think makes it to 3. I think the 3 is very different here. Joanne at this point was in a really good spot, and someone who should have been a casualty and like all like the John, the Jennifer, like the Jonathan of it all recovered very quickly from that and kind of picked up some of the remnants, got picked up Esme as a close ally, Issa as a close ally, and was slowly gaining some momentum. And we'll highlight a little bit more of Joanne's strengths later on in the award ceremony. But like we felt that if Joanne was not taken out here, she was not getting taken out. So we felt that this was a very necessary move to make, and I don't think the move was being made of day of. I mean, like morning of. Like I thought Joel was going to go
The
home.
move literally happened 2 hours before eviction.
Yeah, exactly. It was like
It was very fun to watch unfold.
Joanne was another person who I talked to the night before
It was
the
like,
eviction
Heather
and was
was
like,
cursed apparently.
yes, they're not going home. And
maybe
then
it's your.
it was my fault.
So
Yeah.
that's
I
why
got
me and Joanne
Esme
went out.
and
Wow.
Joanne
Wow.
out. It's-
Heather
it's
single-handedly
like,
got
I
Esme
love-
and Joanne out.
So otherwise said, in future seasons, if you guys apply, don't talk to Heather.
Don't talk to me.
Joanne, if we never talked to Heather, it would have been
didn't-
us in the final 2.
Listen,
Just think
Heather
about that.
Heather has never talked to me, and look where I am. So-
There you go. All right.
Basically same.
And with the best move of the season, we have the polar opposite, which is unfortunately the worst move of the season. And let me tell you, you guys gave us plenty of material for this category.
This was the actual last one we had chosen.
So there were a lot of decisions made this season, and we had honestly a few good mentions. I'll bring up Jom during week 3 bringing up too many alliances and then saying that V was responsible for them, including an alliance that was made after V went to sleep. And yeah.
I
Anyway,
will say that also created the verb jomming it.
Right.
Or jommed it.
great time. There was also at the final 5, Joel nominating Timmy instead of Cody. It's like I understood the reasoning behind it, but like it's the end game. Like we don't need to be playing.
Already shot twice.
playing this. But our winner is actually an entire HOH reign in its own. And again, there were plenty to pick from, but the HOH reign we went with was V's second HOH, where after a very hard-fought Statue of Liberty win, V did the very impressive thing of nominating the exact same people for the second time, which was questionable in its own. And then after the fact, when people didn't want Issa out and instead wanted to just vote out Topher, V handled it not great. I think the quote that we heard from Timmy a few times was like, well, if you want Topher out, you hold a ball up for 29, like something along the lines.
28 minutes because we don't
Yeah,
count 4 minutes because that wasn't real.
No, I literally, I was like so pissed off in that moment. Like I also fully was like, I'm the one on HOH. I was the one who put my hand up. Y'all didn't.
Right. Which like
So that's what people were talking about.
Yeah, that is the move I
That
was
you
talking
seem
about.
to not realize that's what people were talking about
No.
when you were like,
Because
but
I
I
immediately
wasn't
apologized
aggressive.
about that as well. Like I immediately messaged him because I knew that I did, and I immediately knew Timmy like, okay, no, I messed up because I was very stressed in the moment because of my exams as well.
Yeah, I didn't realize
and-
I didn't get your apology for shit.
And
Yeah, no, it was genuine because I knew I had a lot of shit going on in real life, and it
Yeah.
immediately went from 0 to 100 within the stress of the game, and I knew I was in the wrong.
Also, I just
Um,
want to make sure.
So it's like understandable, but like kind of
I
tank.
get.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
If it wasn't for a jailbird twist and a clutch veto win, I don't know where V would go. And speaking of clutch
wins, it's my turn again. Anyway, I thought it was a good segue.
Yeah,
which
classic.
that is a clutch win, but we do look into certain things where, like, if someone was really kind of in danger of going home, that there would be something involved there. So a few things. I don't know if do we have nominees for this on the slides or no?
We do have
We
noms.
do. Oh, that's so crazy. So anyway, so
Sorry. Is Timmy's face placement here intentional?
Who's to say?
I took a screenshot of that. And
That's hilarious.
I put it in the pre-jury.
Anyway,
so there, the first one that is listed, it does show Joanne's face. This is Joanne winning the week 7 veto. Which let me just make sure.
this
with
was
that
the round
because-
Esme went home.
Yes. So, had that not happened, there is the whole potential. Like, a lot of people were looking at Joanne at that point. There is the potential that Joanne does end up going home that round. And that is something that we did look into. Like, there was a lot of talk there saying that this is I think the one time we can get Joanne out. And so winning that week 7 veto, I think really, brought that up there for most clutch win. I think there was a chance that, like, she wouldn't go home. So that's an option there, but in any regards, the veto was definitely necessary for Joanne to win that round. The next we have Seb here. This is Seb winning the week 3 HOH. So with the week 3 HOH, this was still at that point when people were kind of looking at, like, the 3 who voted Caden, which some people were not really looking at as seriously, but some people were definitely looking at that, being like, okay, there's all this going on. There's a trio here. Like, we have this trio that we need to get out. And Seb was a very high contention for even being, I think, Esme mentioned this in the jury roundtable, where Seb and Topher were possibly going to be the first 2 nominees of the season as a whole. And so the fact that happened, and then those 2 also were ones who voted to keep Caden. And then as things went on and progressed there, like, obviously, like, the Chris situation happened. But Seb had a very high probability of going home that round. And I think that winning that HOH that round, as much as people may have not liked certain things in the moment, I think it did solidify a lot more things to come there. You scrolled where I was reading. Anyway.
There's nothing on the screen.
Okay, I'm reading the screen. Anyway, and then the last one is Timmy. This is Timmy winning the 2nd live night veto, which Timmy, if anybody has been actually watching or was following at this point of the season, obviously the people in the game know this. So Timmy was out of.
I was in Disneyland.
It wasn't Disney at this time, and had probably the most disadvantage for competing in this competition specifically, which was the OTEV, where you had to spell things out with things that you find. So it's like a live scavenger hunt situation, but spelling as well. Timmy would have definitely gone home that round, which is why, Jacob, if you want to move that, this is the most clutch win of the season. This is probably the most clutch, not even in the sense that you probably had the most disadvantage with having not as many items in your area or items that you would know to bring up in your area.
I ran out of items.
I think most definitely would have gone home that round, and I think it was exemplified that you did go home the next round, which I think is why this is the most clutch win, because you did end up going home literally right after, had everything not happened there. And it was actually really fun running the comp with you, and you didn't even make it to the last round. So I think at certain part you were concerned as to whether or not you would even
Look, I made it to the last round, got it wrong, and then ran out of items.
and ran out of items because you were in a hotel room. Um, However, other people did not spell the correct things, and you ended up winning. Um, that I think ended up saving your game. Had you been able to uh, compete in that HOH and then also have done like other things like the weekend or the round after, I think you could have gone a lot further. But I think this was kind of a very clutch win in that situation. The other two were very clutch wins as well, but I was a hard fighter for this one. One, because I wanted to talk about Timmy, but two, because it really like I was rooting for that to happen, and then it happened, and I was like, oh hell yeah. Anyway.
On record, though, we had
when that was revealed.
I want on record. We actually had 6 noms at some point. We narrowed it down to 6 wins, and we fought for hours on this award specifically. Like the other like honorary mentions are Joel winning week 9 HOH, Seb winning week 11 HOH, and V winning week 10 veto. All of those were very dire situations as well. We narrowed it down to 3, and from there we
Y'all made it a fun season with these comp wins.
And
yeah, it's just like
yeah. Oh no, Jacob, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm drunk.
say something.
Oh my god, somebody.
I was gonna say I'm the next slide too. Yeah, I'm also this slide. So we had best rivalry of the season, which we did have quite a few. One of them I don't think was as much of a rivalry, but we'll get to that. Do we have nominees for this one or no?
We do have nominees.
That's crazy. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so we have Al and Joel, which they were very on opposite ends of the spectrum. I think at the bottom of each other's trust rankings, like almost every round up until like
Every round.
the
It was
last
awesome.
round, because I think Joel did not want Al to go at that point, which was very interesting because all of us were like, oh no, like this is.
It turns out I'm delightful. So
apparently
that just hadn't come across yet.
Yeah, and so there's that. There's Timmy and Julia, which literally in the plate shooters competition, they were just like, I'm gonna shoot you. And it was really funny. And then there is V and Issa, which is not really a rivalry, but V had 3
It is
HOHs
very one-sided.
every single time V won HOH, nominated Issa. So yeah, and then the best rivalry, I think we all know which one this is. It's going to be Timmy and Julia. They even
Oh, we
said
did that, Julia.
they even said if they weren't best rivalry, they would be confused and like hate prod or something like that. And I can't afford to have Timmy or Julia hate me. Like if
It's
they
an
hate
expensive
me,
task.
if they hated me, I would leave this community right away. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I would cry.
Can I comment on this?
Yes.
Julia, I hate you and love you down.
I'm telling you, you had to be there for the call with Timmy and I.
I was walking around this room specifically just pacing, and we were so politely fighting, and it was the funniest thing.
It's so funny.
It was just so cordial, but like, yeah, you're dead to me.
What a time.
And speaking of dead, we move on to Best Duke.
What?
Don't ask me what the
Julia
segue's
and I
relevant. Okay, so we don't have not like there's it was so interesting because I feel like there were very few duos that like were maintained throughout different like phases of the game. They were like duos from like the pre-jury. There was duos in like the early jury phase, the mid-jury phase, and like the end game. And people were very fluid with who their number one is in the game. There's like lots of duos we had our eyes on, but maybe one person got ousted particularly early on. Like we were looking at Esme and Joanne for a considerable amount of time as a potential duo of the season, and they got separated pretty early on in the jury phase. We looked at like people who also made like the end games, like a Cody and V situation. We also looked at we jokingly I fought for Al and Alex to be best duo or best friend. Honestly, both of them. Like everyone joked, "Oh, Julie and Timmy for best duo," but whatever.
What
Uh,
about Alan Jom?
Oh, what?
Interesting.
I need to go
John
back
doesn't
and
even know the lore.
Timmy. No. Oh,
Oh,
So,
Cody's
but-
here. Wait, Cody's here, which is
Cody's here.
great.
Wait, Cody, get it? Cody, wonderful, excellent, marvelous, magnificent that you're here to see you and Seb win duo of the season because dude, they did the Chilltown bit. Like I forgot,
Ring,
I don't
ring,
know when
ring.
it started, but it was like they didn't hide it. It's like the most funny part about it. Like they kept talking about like how they tied Wheel, and I'm like, oh, they're dead. Like there's no shot. Like people are gonna let them go on in the game, and there was many points where it was like that for sure. Now they're gonna take a shot. For sure, now they're gonna take a shot, and that shot was like kind of taken by Joel, kind of not. But aside from that, like it was so interesting watching them navigate the game together and like come together organically because the way that the early portion of the game was kind of set up. It was like Esme, Jennifer, Jonathan, John, V was kind of in that contention in that corner for a while. Joanne was kind of leaning that way as well. Like they were starting to pick up lots of numbers. And I think it was Cody, Seb, and Julia who got on a call. They clocked the International Alliance. They clocked that side of the house. And for me, I feel like whoever of the three kind of came together, if they were to be a duo of the season, would go on and go really far in the game. And Cody and Seb, I think at lots of points, they were kind of the decision makers. I think the end game was ran by Cody and Seb from a strategic perspective. The final 7 HOH, I think final 8, they had a considerable amount of sway that round as well. Even like, I guess Seb was in jail, but I guess Cody. And then we were shocked.
Also, yes, Timmy, it is not lost on us that they won duo and then Cody ended up voting for V to win.
I just
and
love
Seb
that.
evicted Cody. Like that was a pretty interesting
I don't
dynamic.
know. I think it shows who the real duo was.
If you remember,
I'm gonna be real. You don't want to look at my trust rankings if that's the case.
Don't worry.
I
Like
feel
Seb
like
and I, the moment Seb like evicted you, we went on
Survivor
call
46.
and we were like, "Oh, Cody was my duo," and I was like, "Oh yeah, Cody was my duo." Like
I was
got
like,
to-
I don't know.
I got to Final 5 with 3 people taking me to 2, and I still lost.
I think Al said it best. It seemed like
Maria
and
versus
Maria
Charlie.
versus Charlie 2.0.
Well said.
Well,
I'm sorry, did Charlie lose?
This is awkward.
No.
Because I didn't.
Anyway,
Yeah, but your unplugged hosts tried their best.
They
So-
tried.
We really did.
anyway,
and
next-
neither of them voted for Seb. That's crazy. But we move on to.
That's what I meant by that, Jacob. That's what I meant. That was
Liz.
the
That's why I'm
whole
helping- I'm
joke. That was
Liz.
the whole
Liz.
joke.
Speaking of Jacob, we're all going to be quiet now so we can continue. Speaking of Jacob, we have several wonderful candidates for Best Alliance with incredible names. I've got to say, I think this season was my favorite for just Alliance names across the board, but that's a different board. Best Alliance overall
I came up with some horrible names.
has got to go
we'll get to that.
I think Best Alliance overall has got to go to Okay So, otherwise known as Okay So. Just asking, this chat has been alive for over 24 hours, so no clue on the direction of this. Why?
Okay, I have the full name.
dot.
I have the full name. Okay, so just asking, this chat has been alive for over 24 hours. No clue on the direction of this, why we're here, how I'm here, etc. Is someone able to just explain so I can talk to my prod chat as to why I see this chat? End quote.
So, just so you know, there was absolutely no fucking way for me to read that entire thing in any form of Discord. I tried laptop, on my iPad, on my phone. For the life of me, I could not figure out without trying to go in and edit it what that said. So kudos for that. Made me laugh every single time. On top of that, you guys were an incredibly powerful alliance. Every move in the game, especially towards the end, was one that you guys were involved with. And I think that and the silly name deserve to be rewarded and recognized. So congratulations. Best alliance.
I do want to
Also-
apologize to Liz. Sorry, V, what were
I
you
was
gonna
gonna
say?
say the origins of this alliance are also iconic because it was right after Chom's eviction that we were the final four in that call, and we were just started joking and ranting about everything.
I do want to apologize to Liz because there was a couple other honorable mentions. There was August 10th, which was basically this minus V. There was That's Crazy that we secured an HOH in 4 minutes, which was this minus Timmy. And then there was Super Bad, which was this minus Timmy and V, but with instead of them, it's Julia. All of those at some point we thought like we're going to be the alliance that ran. Shocker, Cody and Sepper and all of them. I got another reason why they were due of the season. What made this alliance very interesting is that in the comparison I give it to, and I apologize for advance, was very Pretty Boys-esque in that they dominated certain aspects of the game, but they weren't always together. Like there were points where Timmy and V, like in game, wanted to kill each other, and so that was a very interesting like dynamic to consider when like giving out best alliance. But yeah, no, just this is best alliance.
There is like an alternate universe where the Issa, Joanne, Joel, Timmy alliance is instead alliance of the season. But this is the timeline we're living in.
But they never made a name for their chat, so they don't get to.
Speaking of,
and
It too soon.
And speaking of names of chats, you guys can't win Best Alliance name. Because you didn't name your fucking alliance. Anyway, so we have Best Alliance name, which I will say, at least for the pre-jury stage of the game, there was fucking weird-ass alliance names. And I'm taking this because I think I'm the only one who is willing to say this on a recording, and also because I'm drunk. So obviously, okay. So just
Jennifer, do you want to put my hand? I think it's one of ours.
We'll see.
So obviously, okay. So just asking, that whole thing is one of them. But it was too long to say, and I'm drunk, so I can't read. Then there is another honorable mention of That's Crazy that we just secured an HOH in 4 minutes. I think that one's kind of boring, but we put it on here anyway.
It was silly.
It's a silly little name. Another one is Tumbleweed Liz, which I don't remember who that consisted of.
It was Al and a few others.
Me, Timmy, and Julia, because we were the only ones who correctly said that Liz would be the tumbleweed down the hill because Jacob isn't full of that kind of whimsy.
And this is your mention for that group here.
Yes, there was Tumbleweed Liz, and then here's the two that people were holding their hands for. There is first that did not win Best Alliance name, which is Surgeons in the Amputee Hole. So that was the name of an alliance.
Timmy, why do you look shocked?
Why was I not in the amputee hole alliance?
I'm sorry. Nobody
was
can talk
very
about
John,
not
Jennifer,
being in any amputee alliance when I was the original person to bring it off because I work at the fucking theme park that it happened in.
There's.
Well, you got amputated from that alliance.
But unfortunately, that did not win the Best Alliance name. The Best Alliance name, Jacob, can you please? It is Who Had Sex in the Swedish Taxidermy Whale.
That was amazing.
I had sex there.
This one had
that was
Esme, it had Jennifer, it had Julia, and it had V. I thought there was more people in there, to be quite honest. I thought there was more people in the whale, and I learned today that it wasn't, or I remembered today that it wasn't just 4 people.
Did you say in the whale?
Yes.
I don't like calling
obviously,
the alliance.
we were all in the whale.
They all were in the whale.
I just call it the Sex Whale Alliance.
That's basically the short version.
In the whale.
I will say, every game I've been part of, I've won for Best Alliance name of the season because it's been an alliance that I've named.
Because it's insane. Yeah.
Yeah, I will say after Esme got out, all the alliance names dropped in severe quality. Thank
I
you.
don't know. Death Threats was a fun alliance when I was nominated.
Yeah, but is death threats
That's
who
funny
had
because
sex in the
there.
Swedish taxidermy whale?
But like those words don't exist in the English language together, and they somehow figured out a way to do it.
You're welcome.
So why that name happened was I was on Instagram and found this picture of there's this taxidermy whale in Sweden that they had to close the mouth of in a museum because there was a couple that had sex in it.
And
Anyway,
They're doing crazy shit in
Obviously.
Sweden.
who did it? We don't know. It could it.
Could it have been one of the pre-jurors that were robbed this season?
all right. Robbed pre-juror of the season. Like I said before, we had a very active pre-jury, and there were definitely arguments for I'm gonna say there were definitely arguments for everyone to be considered for this category. But we can bring up our nominees. We have Jennifer, we have Jonathan, and we have Caden. And as much as I would like to milk this out, we all know who it is. Rob Preacher of the season, 1000% Jennifer. Jennifer made it to the point where jury starts. And of course, we had this dumbass twist come where Topher gets to come back and battles.
How dare we add a twist?
How
in the
dare we try to shake the game up in such a way that it actually ends up working and Jennifer gets robbed from an actual jury spot in the game. It was very unfortunate. But no, Jennifer, I do think you played of those in the pre-jury, I think you played the game the best, and under different circumstances definitely could have gone further. So you get this award. No question. Jacob.
Yeah, it is me. Sorry, I was texting someone who won. We move on for every Rob Preacher. There's going to be a Rob Juror, and we fought for this one as well. I think Rob Rees could be really subjective. I think that we looked at lots of people for different reasons. You know, you could be one of these three nominees here. I think they all were robbed in their own right. Esme was a robbery because we felt like they were in a really good spot on their side of the house. I think the other side recognized how powerful Esme might have been moving forward and kind of took her out before they could gain some momentum in the game. Joanne, as we've highlighted during the best move, I think Joanne was taken at a point where her stock was on the up and up, and Joel was far and above the favorite at 4 to win. I would be shocked if it wasn't Yunnan in any of the three scenarios. Joel might have sat there in the end, and there was other people who were robbed for other different reasons. Tim Lee for very similar reasons as Joel. Al for being the round probably most affected by the jailbird twist, and V not gained whatever. But the person we gave Rob Juror to was the person who the day of we did not think was going to be a juror yet, and that's Joanne. Honestly, I kind of want to, after last time we've actually hosted you, I gave a couple things to production. I was like, okay, I need Joanne to fix these elements of her game, and I feel like you took all of those criticisms and worked on every criticism we had for your game. You weren't undyingly loyal to just one person. I think you constantly were adapting in the game, finding new allies. You'd lose your closest ally, you'd find a brand new one. Oh, Jennifer and John are going home. Okay, now it's Esme. Oh, Esme's gone. Okay, then let me move over to Timmy. Oh, Timmy's getting clocked. Okay, maybe let me move over to Issa. You were constantly reevaluating and assessing who was best for your game moving forward, and you forged a lot of very strong bonds. And people weren't really looking at you for a very long time. And coming to the point at 7, you had a really good relationship with Joel. Joel had you as his number one. Timmy was going to defect from the alliance that he was running the game with, in a sense, to align himself with you and potentially take you to the end. Issa was very loyal, wanted to take you to the end as well. There was lots of people who were going to be very surprised if they took you to the end of the guys oh, she's an easy beat, because we felt you had a lot of positive points in your game to highlight. Socially, you were doing great. Lots of people adored you. You were gutted when we saw that happening. Love Joel, but we were very shocked. It was thank you that Joel and the trio ended up pulling that move off. So Joanne, you're Rob Juror. You ate the fuck down. Type shit. Whatever people say in tandem with people eating. But Now that we've gotten Rob Juror out of the way, we're going to move on to our prod favorites. So Heather, you're first up.
Right.
I do not
So,
have honorable mentions on the slides, by the way.
okay, so I'll say my honorable mentions then before. Anyway, so it's my host favorite time. This is the best award that you can win this entire season. And I actually came into this season very lucky to have two of the favorites be my host favorite from their season. One unfortunately did not make it that far. Chris was a host favorite of mine from his original season. Unfortunately did not make it as far. And the other one did make it fairly far. I already told Joel this, but I made a rule for myself that I would not choose the same host favorite as I have in previous seasons, but I still wanted to have Joel as an honorable mention just because like Joel did play like a very good game. And Joel, I've noticed, works best when he has a lot of time under his hand, on his hands with anything going on. So Joel's able to maneuver in a social way to have any sort of flip happen that would be beneficial for his game. This was shown also in the Joanne vote. This was shown in other points in the game. The first vote as of a whole, I was upset with whoever was going home the first vote. We were as prod very shocked at the nom set, but
Sorry.
it's okay. It's fine. But Joel always knows that he is one of my favorite players to watch in a game, and see how he maneuvers. Another honorable mention is Timmy. I love my season 1 people. So, Timmy was very good and as I think Timmy could have had an end game that was really well fit for him had people not taken Joanne out, as we talked about earlier, with how he was so well in with a lot of different groups. Was kind of the middle of both sides of the house and things kind of happening there. Timmy's very good at also talking. I think the eviction speech was probably, if we had an award for best eviction speech, we would definitely have that there. But you have that way of speaking to people. You have that way of maneuvering. You have that way of, getting certain things to happen there and just knowing where things are going. But my host favorite, which we actually just talked about this person, my host favorite this season is Joanne. I loved watching Joanne. I feel like last season that Joanne was on, she played the middle fairly well in a duo in the middle. And this season, Joanne kind of was a lot, how Jacob even said, was a lot more adaptable, a lot more able to kind of go from one side to the other very flawlessly until she was clocked at a certain point, and wasn't even going to go home, like we said, until 2 hours before the vote happened. It is something that I absolutely adored watching. I thought was amazing. I did not think you were going home when we had that call for you doing the competitions. I was like, Joanne's staying, so these will be fine. And then later on in the day, I'm literally at work and I see things happening and I'm like, no, this can't be happening. This is not okay. This is my winner pick of the season. What are you talking about? Even though I don't think you made it to your placement from the previous season, I think you improved on a lot of things in your game that I wouldn't say we're lacking the first season that you were on, but it's something that you still even your strengths you improved upon. You improved upon a lot of things that I wanted to see from you personally with a return. And that's why you are my host favorite. I am very happy with how you played. I was gutted, to say the least, when you left. And you and Issa going out in succession was not okay for my mental stability, but that's okay. It's fine.
All right. And with that, it's time for my host favorite. I know everyone wants this award. No, I'm kidding. No, this was a very tough cast to pick a favorite from because all of you brought all of you brought something that was very enjoyable to me this season. I really loved watching this cast. I will give honorable mentions first of all to Esme because I remember doing your interview and then hopping off and then being like, oh yeah, we're casting it. Like no question about it. And I was hyping you up to the rest of this prod team so much, and then you came into this game and made it insane in the best way possible. And
And then I got COVID that night because after that, I think I got COVID.
And then you got COVID and you were still breathing.
I think, yeah, I felt so bad about my interview. I did not realize it went well.
Oh
no,
no.
it went fantastic. That was
He hopped off
so much
that
fun.
and was like,
guys.
my winner pick. It's fine. It's like,
And then I'm also going to give an honorable mention. Honestly, I think we're all expecting this to Al because they kept me in Unplugged for far longer than they wanted to. That being said, it was also very fun to finally get to. Oh, and they're gone. Okay, well. Okay, but now we can get to my actual host favorite. It was definitely hard to pick, but I had to go back to my roots and for a second time pick Cody as my host favorite. I tried to sway away from picking Cody, but like you're so much fun to host it, do competitions, and to because I know you were hosting game nights all the time, and like those were so fun. That one like BS Jeopardy you had us play was
I still have the picture you sent me from that.
was great, and even just like
Anyone want to play League of Legends?
Anyone want to play League of Legends?
and even just like hosting you in like a challenge that like I still go back to like the what was it, the fans and favorites competition where you were just like crashing out but also delivering like the best one-liners I would like ever hear. No, Cody, pleasure to host you once again, and yeah, you're my host favorite for the season.
I just said,
Yo, I think I won the game twice now.
I guess.
I just sent Cody.
I don't know. Joanne might have though.
Well, even more so.
But all right, we'll move on to my host favorite. If Alex's favorite is the one everyone wants, my award is the one everyone thinks that they have. Because for some reason you guys tied 2-2 with 3 people to win this superlative, which, like, respectfully, it should have been a sweep for Seb. But I'm not gonna get into that right now. This was a tough award to give out, like, actually, genuinely. Because, let me be vulnerable for a second. This is the first season since season 1. I did not win the prod draft. I did not know what it felt like to be a failure and a loser like Alex and Heather. I now feel it. I understand how they feel now after all these seasons. So winning 4 seasons in a row, I wanted to give this as Coach Adorno, as the most decorated coach in the HBBA, my coaching tenure. Hayden Topher, you tried your best. And Al, despite our interview taking place for over an hour, don't know. We were there for 20 minutes before the interview even started, which is fun. But this player brought a lot of pride to me as a coach, and definitely pushed forward the Team Jacob effort. And genuinely, like, outside of this, like, was ever present in all like these fun game nights, had some confessionals with this individual, and was a part of a lot of the most like impactful moments for me, like from like a production perspective, seeing the game pivot in the way that it did, and also some of the funniest moments of the game. And I cannot believe I'm publicly saying this, but Seb, you're more than I. So like I tried my best to not be like biased and like not pick Seb because Seb is Seb, but like genuinely I was like removing all the bias from the game. Your game was the most compelling and entertaining for me to watch. Like if you told me after week 3, after you do your thing renomming V, which was a blindside to production because you were going to put up Jennifer, I'm like, Seb's cooked. Seb's not making it to jury, let alone winning the whole game. And just seeing in real time people trust you more after that. I was like, how the fuck does that work? And it's so dynamic because you were all over the place. You were at the bottom at a point and you were very forthright with people like, hey, I'm gonna vote for Caden to stay, even though I know that Joel's gonna be going home. You were playing kind of like from like the middle, kind of building some of those pivotal bridges, and I kind of just saw like this upwards trajectory. Like if your trajectory in the game was like a graph, like a line graph, it would be just straight up like this. Like you were clearly gaining momentum with each round as it passed. And to put the broad facade like down for a minute, dog, I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so happy, man. Like I got we talked about this. We did the last confessional, and like I like it killed me to like maintain a production front for 47 days and not tell you about how proud of the game, how proud of you I was for the game that you were playing. Proud that we finally got you after you rejected your invitation to play season 2. You would have probably been a favorite and would have come back this season anyways, but you took that time off. You chose this season, and I'm so glad we finally I got to see your full potential because I've been hyping you up to any time I got to host you. It was like, nah, Seb got it. Seb's cooking. People are sleeping on this guy. So you are genuinely my favorite and the player this season, and obviously one of my favorite people on the planet. So love you, bro.
Speaking of player of the season, I would have slightly less to say about my host favorites, although I love them incredibly dearly. Well, my runner-ups and my host favorites. I, if you weren't aware, was sort of pulled in probably a million different directions this season and wish I could have been more online with everyone. But what I did see, I really, really enjoyed seeing from everybody, not just my honorable mentions and favorites, but the players in particular. I feel like I always got, whenever I finally could pull away from the rest of life and get on for a second, I always saw something that they were doing that just made me laugh or maybe kind of like forget about things or got me back into the game so quickly that I really just, every single time I appreciated it. So my honorable mentions are Cody from I Couldn't Help It, I Had to. And also Seb. I feel like every time I hopped on a call with you guys or any kind of interaction, I was like immediately brought back into it. I can see the arguments happening silently. It's beautiful. But my true blue host favorite, I gotta give it to Julia. I feel like from the second that you hit the house, immediately your energy was high and it was right in a place where I was rocking with you. I don't know how else to say it. I thought you were so fun and energetic and bright, and immediately your interactions with everyone made me very happy to just like, even just see, let alone participate in every now and then when I got to. Yeah, I wish I was a little more articulate right now. I'm sorry, but I really, really enjoyed watching you guys this season.
And you thought Liz was a tumbleweed, so like that helps. And now we get
2 more awards left before the ones where we give everybody
Wait, is
something.
there another award before
Yes.
the main award?
Alex, you don't remember?
What are you talking about? Oh my gosh.
Goodness.
Wait, who
could be the winning prod job?
Jacob,
That's
just
crazy.
just pull it up. Just pull it up.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. Oh my goodness. So if none of you watched the awards from last season, there is a video or an audio recording of me cussing Jacob out for winning the prod draft last season because I was so close to tying him. And it was
Well, you didn't.
like, it was very close. This season, I only had 1 pre-juror, technically, but it was technically like almost a juror. So like, I will say that is great. I won the prod draft. I may have been the first one out of the prod draft because at Final Four, we did have everybody have 1 person left. However, I ended up getting out first, but I still won. I had the highest placement record. I had all my lovelies all right here. I am very proud of all of you.
Yeah.
That's what I have to say. I beat Jacob, and that is all that matters in life. This is my goal from the beginning of this season, and now I am retiring.
Hey.
I'm likely not
Hey, I
retiring.
beat
Wait,
Jacob
wait.
too. I just realized. Look at that. Look at
Enjoy,
that.
enjoy it, enjoy.
We all
I will.
beat Jacob.
I
No,
don't,
Liz didn't.
I don't think all of us
Oh.
beat Jacob.
I was gonna
Ow,
say, I
wow.
don't-
You had to
Don't rub it in Liz's face.
You had to bring that up? That's so rude.
Fucked up.
We in this household beat Jacob, and that's what matters. So I thank Joanne, Joel, Timmy, and Jennifer for carrying this season for me. Thank you.
And speaking of the season, player of the season,
And I have this one too. So
can I?
Yes.
Jacob would like to introduce it.
Okay.
Okay, because I just want to say, at least kind of like introduce the nominees, because like this was we fought for this award too. Like in prior seasons, we've wanted to give and like kind of spread the flowers, you know, and for this season specifically, we're just like we don't know who to give it to, so like, and I just want to say preface this like the fans versus favorites thing of it all. It got muddled very easily during the game, but did it feel like it was 8 returnees versus 8 newbies? It felt like 16 returnees in one way or another. And so the fans, you guys brought it, and we didn't want to just give pots to a favorite just because like, oh, like they've played before, and so like they've upped their legacy. But like, apologies to the fans in advance. A favorite did get pots, and we had a hard time picking between 4 of you. The 4 people that we nominated for player of the season were Cody, Joanne, Joel, and Tibby. I think there was a point during this deliberation where each of you won this award, and like we would argue one nominee, but then like, oh wait, but then there's this other person. It's like, oh, but wait, but there's this other person. Like at different point like, in this game, Heather, you say shit before I go on this rant and at a presenting.
Mind you, 3 of these are on my prod draft.
Okay, listen.
So, yeah, so all of you did really well this season. However, like, there were definitely points where a lot of you did falter, and that was, you know, that's part of the game and everything. However, one person dominated also the power rankings throughout the entirety of the game. There was only 4 people who actively were at the top of the power rankings throughout the season. One of them, I think, was on the top, 9 times?
Something like that.
If anyone wants to fact check me. So 2 of those people who were at the top of the power rankings are not on this list. However, like Joanne, like we've mentioned before with Rob Jur, was a big factor in that. Joel was a very strong force in this game and honestly could have won from the jury perspective. And then the 2 that were actively at the top of power rankings, at least for one round, were Timmy and Cody. Timmy was at the top of the power rankings week 10. Cody was at the top of the power rankings the most times in the season. A lot of the things, I know a lot of people were contributing a lot of those factors to a lot of other people, but from what we saw on a prod perspective was that a lot of those decisions actually did end up stemming a lot from Cody. And in adjacent to Seb as well, we don't ever give pots also to either of the final 2. So as much as you might have been in contention, we were not going to give it to final 2 as well. But with the power rankings and with everything that was going on in the game, Cody was a big factor in a lot of the decision making in this game. Cody did not have a lot of agency in regards to comp wins and won comps when he really needed to win comps, like for the veto that he was on the block for or certain things there. But Cody never really needed to win a lot of things this season. Once we mentioned earlier that Julia was at the top of the trust rankings a lot of the time. after Julia left, the top of the trust rankings were usually Cody. Most of the time, Cody was either at the top of people's trust rankings or was very high up on them. Minus maybe one or two people who, even when they had him low, it was not as low as expected at that point of the game. A lot of times when people were thinking of any decisions, they would go to Cody first. Even Seb, I think, mentioned in the final speech was like, once like Cody asked like, hey, are we able to tie this for the Joanne vote? That was something that, had Cody not asked that, I don't think anything would have necessarily happened. Cody was the first one who actually, I know this was kind of attributed to V at one point, but I think Cody was the first one to mention anything in regards to the prod chat about getting Joanne out, which I attribute a lot of that move to the Cody Seb V trio there. But I don't think a lot of the jury saw a lot of what Cody did in this game. And I don't think Cody even saw a lot of what he did at certain points of the game, at least as of when you went to the jury. When you went to the jury and you were in that jury roundtable and like a lot of things happened. I know you mentioned being very passive, but a lot of the decisions in this game would not have happened had Cody not mentioned them, or not been a part of them. I think even you mentioned at one point that you were very, and this is kind of going back to your first season and also just any other games that you've played, but your first season especially, you were targeted almost every single week. This game, you were not targeted, but not necessarily like in the fact of people thought you were going to be a GOAT to the end of the game, but it was something where like a lot of people had you very high on their trust rankings. And as far as Prod was aware with seeing everything going on, a lot of things were attributed to you. And I don't think that was seen as much as it deserves to have been. So I think that we wanted to give you your flowers now, while a lot of people may have their opinions on that. But as Prod, I think this was a very easy decision for us, actually.
All right. I believe that is our last.
I think Cody was going to say something.
Oh, Cody, I'm so sorry.
I just want to say thank you because like I saw half of it. And I think Jerry killed me a little bit. But wild.
Well said, Julia. Anyway, that is our last official award of the season. Thank you all for playing Hypnotic. We do, and see you in season 7, whenever that may be. We do have some consolation awards. Everyone gets a consolidation award. Excuse me. Everyone gets their own special teammate award.
I think Jacob.
So we'll start at the. Huh?
I think Jacob mentioned wanting to announce those.
Oh, no.
Oh.
No, Alex. Okay,
Alex, you could do that, but I'll explain them if he needs.
Yeah. We'll start at the bottom and work our way up. Caden gets the most unexpected Hypnotic First Boot award. I think every season of Hypnotic, we could kind of tell going in. Yeah, this player's probably gonna get. Caden, no chance. We could have predicted that. That was insane. An insane first round. Chris gets the Best Son award because the round that he ended up walking was the round that he was spending basically the entire weekend with his father, and honestly, that's very sweet of him. Jonathan gets the Biggest Casualty Through Other People's Doing award because I don't think Jonathan was going until other people started doing some other things. Jom gets the Most Likely to Name an Alliance award because it felt like every couple hours or so, Jom was like, hey, can you make this alliance with these people and call it this? And we're like, sure, man, why not?
And I think that Okay So blah, 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 was named because of a Jom alliance.
Right, so...
It sure was.
That was named after the alliance that was active for all of 3 hours, and after 3 hours, I'm the only one that said anything in that chat.
I will say,
exact message is what became the name.
I will say one of my favorite underrated alliance names was the one of Jom, Al, and Topher called Jamado. Jom, I don't know. I thought it was funny.
I'm great with coming up with portmanteaus.
How did
It's an underrated skill of mine.
Jennifer gets the worst aged celebration dance award because once she convinced Seb to not nominate her, she sent us a little celebration dance, and then everything went to shit really soon after.
I will say, I think Prod was like, I've never seen someone talk their way off the block, and that was possibly the worst move for them to do. Because I think us as Prod thought you would stay, like sweeping stay, like if you had stayed,
You had
like
such
went
a
on the
good-
block.
It was probably my best work that I've ever done socially. I have
Yeah,
to say.
for sure. Yeah,
It was amazing work, but it was also probably the worst thing to do at that point was to talk yourself
hindsight's
off
2020.
I realized that very shortly after.
Yeah, it's all right.
But the celebration dance, I loved it.
Esme gets the most fucked edits award for basically obvious reasons. I'm pretty sure in your interview you're like, by the way, I make a bunch of like edits of my of my like fellow players. I'm like, okay, that'll be interesting. And then I saw him in action. I was like, well, shit.
My favorite was
Jennifer had to deal with that back to back games.
My favorite was the one of Issa in jail.
That was really good.
You
And
were
if
like,
you can
let
find
them out.
and if you can find it, please send it.
One of Issa in jail sends me.
I think my personal favorite is John. We have not seen this. John Tucker must die.
John, we love. John, I feel like we're dunking on you too much in this
Sorry,
award ceremony. You were fantastic.
We love you, John.
It's the movie poster of John Tucker or John Tucker Must Die with your face over it, me, Joel, Joanne, and Julia's face over the other characters.
Wait,
No.
it's currently my phone screensaver. Actually.
No way! That's awesome.
Hold on, I have it right here.
I like the Julia one just very carefully plastered on. Moving on, Topher gets the "How the hell did you make the jury?" award because after round one, we were like, "Yeah, Topher's probably gonna be next boot," and then just kept not, and then again through a twist that some people, maybe one person in particular, doesn't like as much. Topher did end up making the jury, and it's absurd. Al gets the Jacob's fourth favorite person award because in Touchy Subjects there was a three-way tie for Jacob's favorite, and Al seemed a little upset that they were not considered.
No, for of all questions we've asked, everyone got that one correct except for Al, and Al voted Seb.
Oh, that's even funnier.
Which is it's like Al made it tie by voting for Seb in the prelim thing, and it was just I was sad. I felt really.
Julia gets the most effort put into cast photo award. We saw how hard it was for you to take that photo in the line for whatever ride it was at Disney. It was
Winnie the Pooh.
the Winnie the Pooh ride at Disney. Thank
I
you.
remember the background.
Joanne gets the most likely to forget her duo's name award. This is because of a very small moment where we were having a confessional with Joanne and she was talking about her last season when she was like, yeah, and me and shoot, who was the guy that I worked with the entire season?
I will say I think that also happened with a few people this season
Right.
too, but that was
Issa gets the most likely to vote for Joel award. Here's a fun fact. Issa voted 6 times. 3 of those times were incorrect, and all 3 of those times were votes to evict Joel.
Thank you, Issa.
And like in those situations, Issa like wasn't my worst enemy. It was just I was up against somebody that Issa just
it was just circumstantial.
Wait, didn't Joanne vote for Joel?
No,
Not
You
3
couldn't even let me
times.
type it out. You couldn't even let me type it out.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Specifically, the
So-
one where it was me and you, Joel, where like
Once Joanne
they were
votes,
coming in with no knowledge, and me and Issa had.
once Joanne
At that-
votes for Joel 3 times, then
It-
we'll.
It's the dichotomy of V putting up Issa 3 times, and Issa voting Joel 3 times. So there needs to be another connection there to make a triangle.
Right, of course.
I rolled my eyes a bunch.
There
It
you
might
go.
have been more than 3 times though.
Like 33 times.
Timmy gets the best eviction speech award. This one's not as funny. This was just like very heartbreaking to hear in the moment, and that like that one quote that we ended up putting in the like final part of the HOH of like oh god, what was it?
It's supposed to be the leg problems.
It was the leg problems because I said you have me standing on one foot because I have leg problems. Because they put me on a fucking island that was this big because they shot me twice in the legs and once in the dick.
Right, so that
That did happen, and like
That
with
is
the,
what we
like,
did.
yeah.
Well, with the weakening of Timmy, I will say it was also so nasty. I have a picture of. I love all of you, but I'm going to out all of you for what happened because I was annoyed. I have a picture of everybody except Issa in a breakout room in that live night.
Ooh, that was rough. We'll talk about that later. Joel gets, actually speaking of live night, Joel gets the most likely to expose their strategy award. Because during the first live night, Joel, I'm not even sure if you did this. As the first live night was happening, Joel was the first one back in the main room and then said something along the lines of, I didn't even want to win these competitions, not really realizing that was the room that was being live streamed to everyone. I don't even know how many people in the game picked up on that, but it was just really funny to be like, this is not the room you should be saying that.
Oh, well, I mean,
who cares?
Nobody cared.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Cody gets the most roast beefed player of the season. Cody's cat, roast beef, really caused a lot of problems, especially towards the end.
She really helped in the final 3 HOH, let me tell you.
You really got roast beefed like that. It was crazy.
So funny.
This might be a controversial award. V gets the quickest a record was taken from them award because after Statue of Liberty ended and V was crowned the winner, V was like, "No, I'm gonna keep going," and then I think started to use their other hand to kind of lean on themselves, be like, "Yep."
No, that I did not do that. I did not do that. I did do this, but I did not use my other hand.
Yeah.
Which is also
At that point, I think when we all went into our prod chat, we were like, okay, so Cadence still has the record, right?
No, because
I
what
mean,
V
we can
was
just
doing
name it the Tower of Pisa.
with this, and then I'm like, well, if you stood up, this is what V was doing. Like, is this
See, I
No.
could have done that for 20 years.
That was exactly the thing I was doing because y'all never said I couldn't do it. Y'all just said.
well,
"Keep
now
your
we
hand
will
in
be
the air."
saying it moving
Well,
forward.
yes,
Keep your
now
hand
in future
the air.
in future seasons we will be saying this. And then honestly, Jacob's gonna have to explain this last award a little more. The loosest tire award goes to Seb. Jacob, want to fill me in a little bit?
That
He
should be
was-
about
You
Grace.
suck, Jacob. Fuck you.
So, on his way, I think, from hanging out with Topher in Disney on the middle of the highway, the car broke down. Tire was loose. I'm pretty sure, and so I locked that in immediately when that happened. I was like, "Oh, he gets the loose. No matter what happens from this point onwards, like that is going to be his award." Just
That
for, like,
tire was not loose. That thing exploded off of the rim. Like,
it's the most fragile tire. I
Well,
guess.
either way, I think it's appropriate.
which, by the way, shout out to Issa who taught me about Florida roadside assistance.
Shout out to Issa, man. All right,
love you.
those are all the awards we have to give this season. Once again, to everyone, thank you so much for playing. Thank you so much for entertaining us, for giving us such good content to watch, but also just playing our silly little game. We appreciate every single one of you. We'll be leaving this Zoom open more for us to hang out. That is all the official material we have for the season. So with that, we'll sign off one last time. We'll see you guys in season 7, whenever that may be. See you guys.